We're doing multiplying and dividing fractions today. Traditionally, multiplying and dividing fractions can be a little bit tricky, but it isn't once you really understand what's going on, okay? To do multiplying and dividing fractions, our avenue to understand it is just to think about multiplying and dividing when there's whole numbers, right? Whole numbers. Okay, so we're going to take whole numbers as our basis, and then we're going to use that as kind of like our path to get to fractions, right? So let's start with a simple example, okay? If I say, look, I've got these blocks, okay? I've got these blocks, and you can see that each block is made of 1, 2, 3, 4 individual units, okay? So if I say, look, I've got 2 of these blocks, sets of blocks, and each one has 4, right? In fact, I've got a whole bunch that have 4. So I have 2 of these 4s. Does that make sense? Like as a way of speaking, I've got 2 of them.
You've got 2 4s.
That's exactly right. I've got 2 4s would be a shorter way of saying it. But I'm actually including that word of, because like 2 of these 4s, or 2 of these 5s, or 2 of these 10s, whatever number, how many blocks, like 1, 2, 3, how many do I actually have?
8.
I have 8, right? Now, this is a really important thing. Get this sentence down with me, right? I said 2 of these 4s, right? Or I suppose I would say 2 4s, just as an abbreviation, right? But 2 of these 4s, like to get to 8, the operation that you did was multiplication, right? Before you got to 8, you said 2 times 4, right? Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
This is 2 times 4. Make sense? And that's what gave you 8. Right? Now, in exactly the same way, if I stepped it up a little bit, let's bring on these guys. Okay, what do I got here?
5 4s.
Okay, yeah, I have 5 of these 4s now. 5 of these 4s, okay? So if I replace this with a 5, okay? If I say 5 of these 4s, then I'm going to have, over here instead of 2 times 4, it'll be?
5 times.
5 times 4, which of course you can check out, you can count, it's 20, right? So, 2 of these 4s, 5 of these 4s, the critical thing is, right? Number. That word of, see that? What it really corresponds to is multiplication, right? Or another way I could say it is multiplication, it means of. Like verbally, that's what it means. Okay. So now, let's have a look at this. Here's my block of 4 again. Wow, that's really bright. There we go. Okay. So what have I got here? Think about the red part as a part of the whole, right? Because that's what fractions are, right? Like it's, ta-da, I've fractured it. Okay, it's pieces now. What is this in terms of fractions? Well, it's half, the red part, is half of 4, right? Do you agree with that?
Yep.
That's how you would word it. I'd say that red part is half of 4. Half of 4. Now, of course, you can count. I've chosen nice simple numbers, so it's 2, right? But where does 2 come from? Well, just like here, 2 of these 4s is 2 times 4. Half of 4 is a half times 4, right? Again, you see that same parallel, right? This word means this symbol, right? They're the same thing, and that's why it gives you... Now, you already told me the answer was 2, right? It was 2. How do we work with this fraction here, this fraction of this number, in order to get 2? Manal, do you want to give a suggestion?
You divided 4 by 2.
Okay, so I said 4 times a half, that's one way of thinking about it. 4 times a half is the same as 4 divided by 2. I agree with that. They're the same. Okay. Another way of thinking about it, and I'm going to come back to this way in a second, so I'm going to leave that written up there. Another way is just look at this. See how 4, right? I've written it as a whole number. It is a whole number. I could also write it as a fraction, right? Do you agree that 4 over 1 and 4 are really equivalent? They're the same number, aren't they? Right? So, in order to get 2, I've really gone 1 times 4 and 2 times 1. Right? What that would give me is, well, I'll rewrite this line. On the numerator, 4, and on the denominator, 2, which of course gives us 2 like we saw before. Okay, that's a half of 4. Again, now have a look at this one, right? It's equally simple. Okay, how would you word this? How would you word it?
1 of 4.
A quarter of 4.
I would say probably a quarter of 4. Right? A quarter of 4, which verbally, of course, I can translate that into a quarter times 4, which you already can see is just 1, right? 1 times 4 divided by 4 times 1. That's just 1. Okay? So, this key idea of multiplication,